Salvete discípuli, soy el Tutorísimo, tu profesor favorito, y en el vídeo de hoy vamos a ver the primary sector. And for that purpose we are going to use these wonderful notes and the presentation that I'm going to show you right now. So the primary sector with these beautiful rice fields. What are we going to see? What is the primary sector and the features of the agrarian activity and the main activities within this sector: agriculture, livestock farming, forestry, fishing, and the mining resources. So first of all, what is the primary sector? Primary sector involves all the activities, or is the sector of the economic activity involving all the activities related with the production of animal, plant, or mineral materials. That is, the production of natural resources, or extracting natural resources, obtaining resources directly from nature. And the main activities are the ones that I already read in the index of this presentation. And the importance of the primary sector in the economy depends on its weight in the GDP, gross domestic product, which is the measure of the wealth of the countries. And today in the world, it is roughly a 5% of the world economy. The primary sector is the third sector in terms of importance. If the country is more developed, the primary sector is going to be less important in the economy, whilst if we are talking about an underdeveloped country, the primary sector is going to be more important in the economy. So let's go first with the agrarian activity. The agrarian activities are those ones involving the production of animal or plant materials: agriculture, livestock farming, and forestry. And first of all, we have to talk about the factors, the specific factors of production of the the agrarian activity. I mean, remember that the factors of production are the elements that facilitate the development of, in this case, the agrarian activities. So the resources needed. First, we need natural resources, we need physical factors. First, the climate. In order to carry out these economic activities, we need a proper climate. This, for example, is a field of agriculture in the Tibet. It's at a very high altitude, and in order to the plants for the plants to grow, we need mild temperature. So this is why here you have plants, but you don't have any plants at the top of the mountains, because it is very cold. The same happens if it is very hot. Okay, in the desert, in nature, there are zero plants, but the human beings can challenge these nature elements. And for example, this is in Israel. We can plant with high technology. We can plant crops in the desert. Yet the plants need specific characteristics, mostly temperature and precipitations, and they have to lay out within several conditions. So the temperature has to be between 0 and 45 degrees, and the soil has to be, well, we're going to talk about the soil right now. First, we have to talk about the relief. Why? Because the agrarian activities are better performed in flat areas, in plains, usually next to rivers, because it is more difficult to work on the land on high altitudes or on steep terrain. And sometimes when there are no plains, the human beings also challenge the nature and make these beautiful landscapes, and these are rice terraces. So they make flat terrains from very steep valleys. And finally, the soil, because the physical and chemical characteristics of the soil determine the possibilities of agrarian activities. That is, that agrarian activities are carried out in a better way in fertile soils like this instead of arid soils like this. So agrarian activities are usually performed here. So the soil determines the chosen of the location for this type of activities. Then we have the human factors. First, the population, because the size and rate of growth of the population dictates the foods that need to be produced. So if there is more people living, and we saw in the unit 0 that the population is growing at a very high rate, that is that we need to produce more and more food. So the population affects the agrarian activities. Then the economic and technological development, which is that the level of technology, remember that it was a factor of production, determines how the activity is carried out. It's not the same to use this automatic harvester than use hand work, okay, because this guy is going to be way and immensely is going to have immensely bigger productivity than these women here. And also the land ownership, which can be private or public, the shape and size of the land, which can be small or big, and the fields can be enclosed or open. These, for example, are large fields and large open fields. In this case, we have small fields and they are enclosed by bushes. Also, the agrarian policies, which are implemented by the governments. This is the Ministry of Agriculture in Madrid. And the governments promote or discourage certain products with incentives, usually subsidies or with taxes, or applying taxes for a specific product, or tariffs. Then we have to talk about the production systems. So how is these agrarian activities, how are these agrarian activities carried out, the way? So this can vary according to first the water usage. If there is only, the plants only need rainwater, it's dry farming crops. If they need to be watered, they are called irrigated crops. Then the use of the land. If the agrarian activities involve large fields and less and very with low productivity, it is called extensive agrarian activities, whilst if intensive livestock farming and agriculture involves a lot of economic investment. For example, this greenhouse is very expensive, and all these watering systems and these temperature control systems are very expensive, yet they produce very high yields. They earn a lot of money despite this high initial investment. Then the crop variety. If we plant more than one crop, it is called polyculture, 1, 2 and 3. But if we only have one type of species or crop, it is called monoculture. And finally, the technology. We can have traditional agriculture if the latest technology they use is the one that people used 10,000 years ago, this plow and the animals, or mechanized agriculture if the large machinery are used. For example, this harvester and this truck and tractor. Okay, so as a summary, the agrarian activities are all the ones involving the production of animal or plant materials. The factors of production can be physical, climate, relief, soil, or human population, technology, land ownership, shape and size of the land, and the agrarian policies involved. Finally, the production systems can vary according to the water usage, the use of the land, the crop variety, and the technology used. So let's talk about the first of these activities, which is agriculture. We can define agriculture as the economic activity dedicated to the cultivation of the land and the breeding of plants in order to get agrarian products or plant products, mostly food, but also textiles and raw materials. We have several systems within the agriculture. The first one is traditional agriculture, also called subsistence farming. And in this kind of subsistence farming, it requires a great deal of work, it has a very low level of technology, and the productivity is very low. It is usually performed in low developed areas, and we have three main types of this traditional agriculture. The first one, slash and burn, agriculture, also called shifting agriculture. They are irregular shaped fields, and this field was created by clearing these trees of this jungle by burning the wood. The wood also and the ashes lay on the ground, and they form a very fertile soil, and this soil is cultivated, as you can see. But this soil is exhausted after 2 or 3 harvests, so when the soil is exhausted, the people go to another part of the jungle and repeat the process again and again. This is why it is called slash and burn or shifting agriculture. Then we have sedentary dryland agriculture, the traditional agriculture we are thinking about, working the plots and the fields, using animals as labor, with no mechanization, as you can see, handwork, and the plots are located near the family's house, and they are used mostly for self-consumption. Finally, the third one is the irrigated monsoon agriculture. This is located in areas with monsoon, which is the south and the southeast of Asia, mostly India, Vietnam and China, and it consists of a lot of fields separated by ditches. As you remember when I showed you the presentation of the relief, these terraces, and it is they cultivate mostly rice, because rice grows underwater. So that's why rice is the most important food product in these areas, South and Southeast Asia. Then we have modern agriculture, and this is how the agriculture work in the developed countries, because of the application of high technology. There is a lot of technology, a lot of mechanization, and it includes the use of specialized machinery such as plows, broadcast seeders, etc., the use of chemicals, and the selection of seeds. And we have 3 main types of advanced agrarian systems or advanced modern agriculture. The extensive mechanized agriculture, this is used for cereals, mostly in the Great Plains of the United States and Canada, for example, and they use a lot in very extremely big areas for cultivating crops, and it is very mechanized, because if not it wouldn't be possible to harvest all of this plain. We also have plantations, which is a kind of monoculture, usually located in tropical areas, and for specific products such as pineapple, cocoa, coffee, tea. This, for example, is tea in India, bananas, etc. Then we have greenhouses and hydroponic crops, which is we will see the highest technology applied to agriculture. This is a building made out of roof, which creates specific weather or climatic conditions of temperature and humidity inside this building. And the hydroponic farming it's a method of growing plants in a solution of water and nutrients. So these plants are cultivated without soil, which is the highest peak of technology we have reached. And finally, the organic agriculture, which it is an eco-friendly technique, so they don't use any chemical products, and the aim of organic agriculture is to produce better quality products, but also way more expensive than the traditional ones. And this one is becoming more popular nowadays. So, what are the products that are cultivated in the world? This is for vocabulary purposes. You don't need in all of this, but it's just to know what are you referring to when talking about plants. Oats, avena, rice, arroz, coffee and tea, café y té, cocoa, cacao, potatoes, patatas, chickpeas, garbanzos, beans, judías, tomatoes, tomates, peppers, pimientos, cucumber, pepinos, pumpkins, calabazas, melon, watermelon, sandía, sugarcane, caña de azúcar, sugar beet, remolacha azucarera, grapevines, viñedos, la uva, tobacco, tabaco, apple pear, manzana pera, peach, banana, mango, melocotón, plátano y mango, orange, naranjas, lemon and mandarin, limones y mandarinas, cotton, algodón, linen, lino, hemp, cáñamo, yes, you get it from cannabis plant, olive trees, olivos, sunflowers, girasoles, peanuts, cacahuetes, palm tree, palmeras, sesame, sésamo, sweet potatoes, batata o boniato, papaya, avocado, aguacate, dates, dátiles. And this is the map of the crop production per capita, per people, and the countries with the darkest green color and the main producers of crops in the world. So, as a summary, the agriculture involves all the activities dedicated to the cultivation of land and breeding of plants. We have two different systems: traditional agriculture, with very low productivity and little mechanization, the three types: slash and burn, sedentary dryland, and irrigated monsoon. Then modern agriculture, highly technological and mechanized. We have extensive mechanized agriculture, is missing here, plantation, greenhouses, hydroponics, and organic agriculture. And finally, there are a lot of variety of agricultural products, and the most important ones are the cereals, vegetables, seeds, fruits, fibers, oils, and a lot more. The second economic activity in importance in the primary sector is livestock farming. What is it? It's the breeding of animals to produce several products such as meat, milk, wool, and leather, mostly, and also to be used as labor in some traditional systems, as we have seen already. So we have two main systems in livestock farming: the traditional system, which involves, as in agriculture, low productivity and little mechanization. We have the traditional family livestock farming, which are a small number of animals which live in a farm and produce food or products for the farmers only. And also we have large herds used for extensive grazing. Okay, these sheep graze in the meadows. And also transhumant farming, which are herds that are relocated from one location to another, so they travel in the different seasons. For example, in Spain, like these sheep herds, the sheep go to the south in winter and go to the north in summer. And here you have them in the center of Madrid, of Cibeles. Then we have the modern livestock farming. This system has high production, it has the selection of the appropriate breeds, and also is a very industrialized production system. And here the livestock is kept in large farms, in large enclosed spaces, in order to produce all these products that we have been talking about. And all the production is mechanized. It is this type of livestock farming. We can see it in the most developed countries, mostly USA, China, and other ones. In Spain, for example, here you have a cow farm, and they are enclosed in very small spaces, as you can see. So, what do we produce in this kind of, or what activities are carried out? Cow milking, or sheep milking, or the shearing of sheep in order to get the wool. Okay, it's alive, I swear. Then also we have we get meat from the animals. This is a slaughterhouse of cows, and also chickens, and for both the meat and the eggs of the laying hens. The pigs, qué rico. And this is a map of the most important producers of livestock products. Okay, here you have the USA, Brazil, China, and India and Pakistan as some countries of Europe as the most important producers. And here is a graph of the total number of livestock animals. As you can see, the great development of the chicken livestock farming. So, livestock farming involves all these activities related to the breeding of animals, and we produce meat, milk, wool, leather, and other products. The two main systems, the traditional livestock farming with the three types, the family livestock farming, extensive grazing and transhuman farming, and the modern livestock farming with this high technology and productivity, which the livestock is kept in large enclosed spaces, then the production is mechanized, and they get a very high yield. Then the forestry. Forestry refers to the conservation and the use of forest. And we use forest to obtain different products, mostly wood, but not only wood. These are the parts of the earth which are covered by trees in more or less, okay. And the most important product obtained in the forestry activities is of course the wood. Okay, this is a logging facility, and we have different kind of woods. The wood is a raw material, and it's used mostly for furniture and for buildings, for housing. The main species we have are the coniferous, such as the pine, or the hardwood, such as the birch or the beech or the maple. And also we have a very expensive woods, like these two. This is rosewood, and this is ebony, but also like teak or mahogany or cedar. We can get another materials, for example, cork, this, corcho, or rubber, es el caucho, resin, la resina, or pharmaceutical products such as the aspirins, because the aspirins come from here, from the trunk of this white sauce. But one of the main problems of the forestry activities is the deforestation, because if the forestry goes too far, we have these large naked areas in the terrain. Here you have an example of slash and burn agriculture, by the way. So, forestry is the conservation of use of the forest in order to obtain and harvest products and create grazing areas. The main products we get from forestry are wood, the wood of conifers, hardwood, and precious woods, fruit products such as fruits and mushrooms, I forgot to mention that, and raw materials such as cork, rubber, resin, cellulose for paper sheets, pharmaceutical products, and perfumes. Then we have fishing. Fishing is all these activities that involve catching fish from a body of water, from a river, from a sea or a lake or an ocean. And we have three types of fishing. We have traditional fishing, which is performed in rivers and in coastal areas, and this is usually performed or carried out for self-consumption. So this one is going to eat their fish. This is another way of traditional fishing. This is Asia, this is Africa, this is Vietnam, and Africa again. But this is artisanal fishing, because as you can see, they are using a bit of technology. The artisanal fishing is a small-scale fishing using these small boats, like this, and they usually sell the production to the local markets. And here you have, this is in Africa, and this is in the Cantabrian Sea in Spain for the I don't remember the word, los cangrejos. And then we have the industrial fishing, and this takes place in these large boats, which I'll also call factory ships. And this they fish the fish, and they kept it here in very low temperatures. And here you have several examples. And these are the most important fishing areas in the world. As you can see, Europe, the south of Africa, east of Asia, and South America. And these are known as fishing areas, and most of them are located in the shore. Okay, so it is called inshore fishing. When you need to go offshore, for example, here in the middle of the ocean, it is called deep sea fishing. And also there's a another type of fishing, which is aquaculture. And aquaculture, it's a fish farm, which refers to the breeding of aquatic species in underwater farms, like this one, which is located in Spain. And they can be in the land or next to the seas, next to the coast. This is another fish farm. As you can see, these are oysters. Or another product we get from the sea is the seaweed, las algas. And they are cultivated in some places like this, which is Indonesia, if I'm not mistaken, such as if it were underwater agriculture. So fishing is catching fish from a body of water. It can be traditional, artisanal or industrial fishing, inshore and deep sea fishing according to the distance from the coast. Well, the species we can fish are, for example, hake, la merluza, sardine, whiting, que es la pescadilla, cod, que es el bacalao, anchovy, anchoas, herring, arenques, octopus, pulpo, tuna, atún. But there are a lot of variety of fish. And finally, the aquaculture, the breeding of aquatic species in underwater farms. The last activity is the mining resources. And mining is an economic activity regarding or concerned with locating, extracting and refining rocks and minerals found on the Earth's crust. Remember the unit 0. Both this extraction of mineral materials can be on its surface. Then we have an open pit mining when the resources are located next or near the surface, or beneath it. It is called a mining shaft, when you have to dig tunnels in order to reach the mineral sources. And the minerals can be classified in industrial rocks, in which we have energy rocks, which are, we will see that in the secondary sector. Useful rocks such as limestone, la caliza. Here you have a limestone quarry. Quarry is una cantera. We have marble quarries, which are extremely beautiful, as you can see. Amazing. Marble quarries, marble is mármol. Gypsum, yeso. And salt. This is a salt mine, an abandoned salt mine. Many of them in Europe, for example, are abandoned and are used right now. This is Turda in Romania, and are used now as tourist places. And also we have precious stones. I'm sure you know about diamonds or rubies, emeralds, sapphires, and many pearls, and many of them, and they are used mostly in jewelry. Then we have the minerals, and we can classify them as useful minerals, which are very common. This is iron, hierro, this one here, this black thing. This is a copper mine, cobre, or a gold mine, oro. Well, the gold mine is placed within the precious mineral, which are gold, silver, and platinum. They are very expensive. They have a lot of economic value, and they are very rare. That's why their price goes up. Remember the law of the supply of the demand of the previous unit. And well, this is a gold vein. This is how gold looks like in a mine. Okay, this is una beta, a vein. And also we have strategic minerals which are used in the modern technology. This is a uranium mine used for powering our nuclear plants. This is a uranium deposit. This yellow rock is uranium mineral. And that's it. Okay. Pim pam pum. Bocatita de atún. Se acabó. Hemos ido 30 minutazos, no está mal. He ido un poquito rápido, pero os habéis dado cuenta que este tema no guarda mayor dificultad que saberse 4 cositas, 4 clasificaciones. Espero que os haya ayudado y ya sabéis que si tenéis dudas podéis escribirme cuando queráis, bien al correo, bien al aula virtual o bien a mis redes sociales. Síganme en mi Instagram y en mi Twitch. Muchas gracias por ver el vídeo y nos vemos en el próximo.